put forth some questions which we've come up with, which some of the youth have come up with, and I'm sure everyone in this room would want to know more about.
Yeah, right. Let me decide after hearing the questions if I know the answer.
So firstly, you always say, be human, born human, and be human. And we feel that the very foundations of a human is the childhood. So was there any such particular childhood memory which acted as an inspiration for you to set up the Satsang Foundation?
Well, I don't want to point to anything in particular, but I'm 69 years old now. I've lived on this earth for many years, and I read newspapers, I look at the internet, I look around myself, I see the politics, I see everything going on, and then I realize that somewhere along the line, people of our generation seem to have messed up things.
And what kind of things are messed up?
Well, for political ambitions and for being exclusive and not, I won't use the word tolerance, because when you say tolerance, it means I'm good, this guy is not okay, but it's all right. The equality of human beings, of human nature, is kind of put on the back burner. I know everybody understands this, but it's on the back burner. It's not in front. If this could have happened in the years in which we have lived, then we could have avoided wars, we could have avoided unnecessary violence, we could have lived together even though we are different. We are not the same, we belong to different community, but we are human.
Yeah.
So I thought about this for a long time, and I said, maybe I would walk among the people, not driving, but walk among the people and talk about this, especially the young. I'm very encouraged by the videos and the Walk of Hope that we did last year, this year.
Yeah.
I feel if this seed of being human, living in unity even though we are different, can get into the minds of the young, then we have hope that we can avoid, certainly we cannot afford a third world war.
Yeah.
People who have lived through it, you have history, read it, they know it. So I thought, you are the new generation. So if this gets into your heart, then things can change. The future of the world, which is why I started this walk in India first.
Yeah.
There also, we went to many schools, colleges, we tried to talk to them.
Wow.
So this is the origin of the walk.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. And it all started with the thought of having peace.
It started with the talk of being able to live together in this world in peace and in harmony. Not trying to make everybody the same, but harmony and peace and unity in the differences. You see, if you have a beautiful garden, if you have only one kind of flowers, no use. And you cannot make a lily into a daffodil. A lily is a lily and a daffodil is a daffodil. But when they put together in the same garden, it's a beautiful garden.
Yes.
Gulshan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I thought, and this is how it came into my head.
So you've been to so many schools, so many colleges, a lot of universities. I even watched your interview with the Amsterdam University. What is the importance of education to you? What is it? How important is it for the new generation?
Okay. Let me tell you what I think about it, open to discussion. I think education is not just information. Information is easy. You don't even have to go to school now. You have Google, the new God, G, big capital. So you don't have to go anywhere. But information is not enough. Information is useful. It's a tool, like technology. But technology is based on pure science. When pure science becomes useful to human beings, then it turns into technology. Right? Now, There is a pure science, therefore, which is the root. So, therefore, I mean by education to be able to bring about, to make the young minds blossom. And blossom forth technology. You can still collect a lot of technology in your brain, but the brain should be made open. Open to receive. We don't have any other mind in the body, so I can't show you where the heart is, but the brain we have here. So that's the one that thinks. Your heart pumps blood, of course, but it's the brain that thinks. So can we try to bring about a change in the inner understanding, where we know that you can use information, but use it for the good of humanity. You'll all become professors, teachers, technologists, many things. But you should remember that in the wrong hands, a nuclear button can be very dangerous. You can use nuclear energy for electricity. You can do it for but in wrong hands, would you give a button to nuclear energy to a chimpanzee? I mean, you don't know what it's going to do. So when you say education, to understand right, how to perform, how to live, to understand humanity, to actually make your mind creative. Creativity is not information. Creativity is to be able to blossom forth, pass from the old to the new, and still respect the old. I think that should be the kind of education that we need today. Technology all have. And I'm impressed after coming for the Walk of Hope and after seeing some of the videos produced. You know, I mustn't be saying this. I wish children in India, students in India were like you.
Cool. And I think also the rest of the audience, because we're all here together in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great thing, because maybe you don't know this, but in India, even in the level of a school or college, there is student politics. So they will, in future, some of them will drop out. But then when they grow up, they may be rulers, they may be parliamentarians. So if this change which I see here can happen there, it is happening in some way, but I find there is little more advanced work going on here. I'm so glad that I came here. I've walked all over the world now, almost. But I'm really seeing that there's something going on here, and I have great faith that this will translate it into action when you grow up and become responsible citizens.
Yes.
So this change is happening, the education system is helping more people blossom like flowers, but at certain points, especially being we're both in year 12, and we have a lot of friends who feel that this creativity, this being blossomed, this gets suppressed by marks, by grades.
Now, I want to make a very strong comment about this, because we run a school. We run a school ourselves, where we have children from class 4 to class plus 2, 12. It's an international school also. It's a boarding school. It's not a day school. So it's true that the most important thing is to allow the mind to expand and become creative and grow and so on. But if you tell them the marks are not so important, then in the practical world later on you'll get into problems. So while marks are okay, the problem is competition. It's not the marks, the competition. I feel that if you do your thing perfectly, not looking at what the other guy is doing, you do your things perfectly, then you will move forward. Then you don't have to worry about the other fellow. The competition comes when I say, I must be better than him. I would say the essence of education should be, I should be better. It doesn't matter than him or her. This is where the problem comes. So it's up to the teachers to say, look, you're doing good. Somebody may be good in something, somebody may be good in something else. So in our school, till the last, when they have to write the board exams, we have abolished all examinations. It won't work. It's not so easy. In fact, when we did this first, the parents withdrew some children. Then the children said, we want to go back. So some came back. But believe me, if you think that this is going to make them academically weak, I must tell you that you are wrong. Because when the results come from the board exams, they usually do well. Because they're not being spoon-fed. We have found out a new system. It's good for the teachers to think about this, which is that the senior students are given classes with the juniors. Now, when you go, if suppose you are going to a smaller class, to a lower grade class, and you're talking, you come prepare yourself because you don't look like a fool in front of them. So, yeah, and the juniors, they know that, oh, these are our students, these are our friends there. So there is a proper communication between the two. And self-learning, I'm sure they're doing it here. Self-learning is very important. A teacher's function, according to me, is to guide people to find out for themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and hands-on. Like in a botany class, if you simply draw the picture of a leaf on the board, this is a leaf. And I suggest that in a botany class you go out into the garden and pick up a real leaf and look at it. You see, this has a great deal of effect on the understanding. So here are some, I'm not trying to advise you how you run your school. I'm sure they're doing a good job. But when you say marks, also remember that finally you need marks to get up. But give more importance to growing up.
Broadening the
broadening your horizons. And if you do that, you will also do well, I think. There may be geniuses who may not do well in the exams, but they might become Einsteins tomorrow.
Yeah, so let's move on a bit. It's very, very interesting, Shriyam. Shall we get good grades or? Okay, but Shriyam, this is kind of contradicting, but we just did a Kahoot. I'm wondering, do you have a smartphone and do you use it often? Cool. So that moves on to the next question. What do you think is the role of technology and how should we apply it to today's world?
Technology has become important. You cannot not be technological in the modern world. I won't say you should give up all technological instruments and retire into the cave, into the old style. This doesn't work and it's not going to work in the future. You need technology. It depends upon technology is used for good or technology is used destructively. That's the thing. So this we have to decide. Will I use technology? I'll give you an example. A terrible incident happened in India because of technology. Because of the smartphone and WhatsApp.
What's happened?
A poor couple from a village, I don't think it will happen here, came to a big city. I won't name the city, I won't name the people, looking for a job. Somebody suspected that they had come to kidnap children.
Oh.
Facebook and WhatsApp went crazy. In about 10 minutes to 15 minutes, there were 2,500 people gathered together to catch these people and beat them up, thinking they are children's kidnappers. Oh. This is technology working. The police had to work very hard to rescue them. This is the other side of technology. So while technology, now if the same WhatsApp and Facebook was used to get people who would help them out, things would have been different. So while per se technology is useful.
Can we also guide technology as teachers guide students? Or
say that again?
So basically teachers guide students to find their purposes.
Okay.
Can we also guide technology in the same direction?
You mean internet?
Yeah, internet. Can we make internet can we guide it in one direction, or do you think humans will get out of control of technology?
Yeah, but we need somebody to kind of give you guidelines on that.
Yeah.
Because it can go crazy. Internet today is an open book. You can go where you want and do what you want. But there has to be some guideline to indicate what is good, what is not good. When I say good, it's not in the moral sense of the term. What is constructive and what is not constructive.
Yeah.
For your life.
Yeah. That for my life, I use technology personally to check up on schoolwork and contact friends. That is what I use technology, and also sometimes an email to teacher. Basically, that is
Sure.
and also some games. That is yeah. But,
And keep in touch with girlfriends.
yeah.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. No. So, how do you feel now that your initiative has grown to such a worldwide thing that's going on?
I think there's much more to go.
There's much more to go.
We've just started. I think we've just started. With all this that's going on, let me tell you, from the big walk in India to my next walk was in Berlin, year before. Then this year, just before coming here in June, I walked in the Alps in Switzerland. There were at least 120 people with us. And then I went to UK and we did a walk in Birmingham, because Birmingham is a place where there are many immigrants living together. So it's growing, and I might probably expand and go to other places where we haven't been before. But I think it's still in the beginning stages. Until it gets deep in and reflects in the way people operate and work. What I mean is, until it goes to people who are in power, who run the situation in the world, I wouldn't say that it is over. So I don't know how many more years I have. I'm 69, but in my mind I think I'm 24. But physically I'm 69 years old, and my health is okay at the moment. So if I can get a little more time, and if I have the health to do it, and if I get cooperation like I get from you young people, then perhaps we can do more. It doesn't have an end, because the world is a very wide place. We're like a drop in the ocean. Of course, drops make an ocean, but still drops.
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day, as they say.
You always say that you've been alive since 69 years. I'm sure you've had so many achievements, you've done so many amazing things. But what one particular thing excites you most that you've achieved?
It's a difficult thing to say. There's no one particular thing. Maybe. That in spite of meeting so many people and being under so many circumstances, and when people say, oh, you're doing wonderful work, and so on, I think the achievement, if I have any, is to not lose my humility. And not say, oh, I've done this. I think that's the one point which I have succeeded in keeping to myself. I think if you don't have that humility, you can very easily get carried away by your own image, which is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And while you were you've done walks in so many different places. Of course, now as students, as the audience, we understand the impacts. We understand that we have the ability to create change. But when you first initially started the Walk of Hope, when you were doing that 7,500 kilometers walk, was there at any moment, did you feel, are people understanding what the message is?
I did. Actually, matter of fact, at some point I used to feel a little dejected. Maybe it's not working. But it's not our job to find out how it's working, it's a job to do. So I did it. And at the end of the day, after having done this book, I feel that something has happened. For instance, in many of the places which we walked through, in the schools and colleges, students have formed their own little groups. Not only students, even grown-ups. And there is a kind of a weekly or bi-weekly discussion by various groups on how to maintain peace. This is a big thing for me. But I did feel dejected. In fact, I thought, why am I walking? Yes. And a very big religious leader told me, why are you wasting your life? Why you might fall sick on the way? Why are you doing this? I said, I'm not wasting my life. I might fall sick, but so what? Somebody else will take over the walk. I'm not the only one. So please understand that the Walk of Hope was started by me now as Walk of Hope. For thousands of years, different people have been doing this in different ways. I'm just kind of continuing it. And I'm sure hundreds of people will continue it in future. That's my vision, and that's why I'm working.
We're totally with you, Shriyam. We'll arrange something if as soon as we get older.
Yeah. Then there is hope.
So there's of course, during the walk, anywhere you look around the world, there's a vast diversity of people. And the main message of the Walk of Hope is bringing unity and in diversity. But honestly speaking, what are some solutions to bring people together?
These walks are symbolic. Today we had a walk, tomorrow it's gone, it's over. But the most important thing is that after the walk is over, after we have a discussion like this, you keep this in your mind and try to spread this feeling among your immediate neighborhood first. This is how it goes. Try to spread it in your classroom. Convince them. Today we had this beautiful music. How many instruments were there? And each instrument had how many strings? All are different. But when the music came, it was one solid, wonderful thing. So keeping this in mind, you, the young people, in their daily lives should try to bring this in. If that is done, then it will spread. It's not so difficult either, and not so easy. We have to try to do this in our own groups, our neighborhoods. And if you are brave enough, you should go to other neighborhoods which are not so good and try to talk to them. I'm sure grown-ups will listen to young children more than old people going into.
And why do you think that is so?
Because they feel that these are young people. They're like our young. We also have kids. So there is a sympathy. So don't go just go in, for instance, in a place where you think people are not so cooperative in this, and just say, oh, we've come a long way, can we drink some water?
Yeah, water.
Sit down, they will give you some water. With that water will come goodwill.
Yes.
And if you see some tea, say, please make some tea for us. People like to help. We don't allow them to help. And then you have a group talking. Next day you meet them, then you talk to them. Oh, they'll say, oh, hello, you are the young people who came to see us. Slowly, it has to go in. Because there is the other side which is trying to divide. So you have to be kind of breaking that.
Yeah.
And you can't do it violently, you have to go gently. This is my understanding, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And to bring forth this unity, what are some key characteristics or features that are necessary?
One is I should not have any kind of ambition to become a big man or something. My feeling should be to bring about change in the world, no matter I'm recognized or not. This is a key feature. I'm not doing the Walk of Hope for my glorification. I'm doing it because I feel like doing it. So if that feeling comes in all the young people here, why 5 people are enough to change, to bring about change?
Yeah.
So the key feature is that you're looking for peace and nothing else, not for your self-glorification. This is very important to note. Now, please, I'm not saying that you should only be doing the Walk of Hope or you have other things to do, but in anything you do, bring this about. Apart from Walk of Hope and holding retreats on meditation and so on, I paint.
You write novels. I'm about to read yours.
I write fiction. That's because I wrote fact and people thought it was fiction. So it was better to write fiction. And I write short stories. I do many things, you know. But I do it because my mind doesn't feel that now I'm old, I can't do it. Keep it open. The moment you say, today I was discussing with my friend Rock here. He said the word retirement is very funny because retirement means retired. As long as you're not tired, there is no need to retire.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. So are you planning to retire the Walk of Hope, or are you going to do it as long as you live?
Until I can stand up and walk, I will continue to walk.
Exactly.
If I fall down, then what can I do?
Yeah. And how many kilometers do you walk each day? What is your morning routine like?
No, I don't walk much when I'm not walking these long walks.
Oh, no.
But in India, when I back to my little place, which has become rarer now, because I'm always traveling. That traveling itself is a long walk.
Yeah.
You know, actually, if you go 4 times in Frankfurt airport from one end to another, you walk many kilometers. but even when I'm at home, in the mornings I go for a walk.
Yeah.
I go for about 5 kilometers around, and then I do my yoga asanas. Since you asked me for the routine, then I do my yoga for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I made very short practice of yoga, 15 minutes.
And family?
My family, well, my children, my son and daughter, they're married and settled down.
Oh.
So I see them whenever I pass through. They're not with me. And my wife happens to be the principal of our international school. And that is about 1 hour 15 minutes from my house. So I don't see her except when I go there or when there is a vacation.
Oh.
She's very conscientious. She doesn't come if there is no vacation. Now because I'm going after a long time, she might come to see me on Saturday. I've told her many times that I'm the chairman of the school, nobody is going to say anything. So that's precisely why I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And regarding the international school, during the walk I was talking to you and you said something very interesting about the name of the international school. Could you please tell us more about it?
Well, the international school which we have is called the People Grow School, because you know the people tree, P-E-E-P-A-L, the people tree is considered to be a sacred tree in India. It was under the people tree that the Buddha sat and is supposed to have been enlightened and so on. It's a nice tree. And when we got this land, which is quite big actually, I think it's much bigger than the area. It's about 30 acres, maybe 22.5 acres. We are using only 6 acres for the buildings. And the rest is playground and children go for bird watching, so we have all that. So the compound was full of these trees, people trees. So I called it the People Grow, G-R-O-V-E. This is the name of the school. And all the houses are named after birds, the boarding houses, because the children are very interested in bird watching. There are some people here who have spent time in the school. There's Nirosha, who is from Sri Lanka, now living in Scotland. She spent 6 months?
About a year.
1 year in school. Wow. She's fond of the principal more than me, so it's okay. And so you know that every Sunday they take their binoculars and go off into the forest because they see birds, bird watching. There's a professional bird watcher who guides them. And so they have named all the houses in the name of birds, different birds. So this is our school, and so on. You would think when you first come that well, they're not studying, they're playing around, but not true.
Cool, Shriyam. Look, there, regarding the audience, you guys might also have some questions to Shriyam. So we have planned, Chris, do you want to announce anything more about this? Oh wait, actually, we forgot the hat.
What do you mean, boss? You forgot a hat. Where are we going to get a comically oversized hat this time of the evening?
Actually, I think we can use your hat, Christer.
What, mine? Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Get your hat and then borrow mine.
Yeah, you know, just as a surprise for the audience. You can use your hat, so use your hat, okay? So guys, change the plans and use Krista's hat, and what you can do, so Shrimp just...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I can go.
Well, because they have questions, so you might need
Sit
to
here?
relax. So, guys, you can write some questions on your piece of paper, and then we'll see if you reselect yours to the interview, which we have. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Do I sit here?
Yeah, sit here and
I thought you were going to pull a rabbit out.
yeah, so there will be questions in there. Or equality? That's a really good question. Who wrote that, by the way? Oh, nice.
Well, for practical purposes in daily life, tolerance comes first. But the aim of tolerance would be to discover equality. If equality is not discovered in the end, then tolerance doesn't have much of a...
Thank you very much. Look, you want to pick up a random question so it won't be biased by me?
So this question is, what do you think of the people who say peace isn't possible or realistic? Who wrote this question?
Ruben.
Thanks for this.
Let me read this again. What do you think of the people who say world peace is impossible or realistic? You know, they have a reason to say that, because it has been tried many times. And the world wars are because, you know, the world wars that happened, First World War, Second World War, because some people thought that it's not possible or realistic. A few people. So I think it can be changed. This thought can be changed if more people think that it is realistic and that it is possible. The reason why it doesn't happen generally is because we depend on organizations to bring this about. I think now our trust should be in individuals. If every individual decides that I'm not going to listen to somebody who says this is unrealistic or impossible, then there is some hope of change. And especially you, the youth should not give up. If somebody says it is unrealistic, you must say, well, I'm not so sure. Let me try. I think.
Cool. Yeah. How many more should we do? Maybe 3 more?
As you like.
I don't have the schedule at my hand, so... yeah. Well,
That's it. Thank you for your speech. I don't know. You don't want to reveal that? Thank you for your speech, first of all. You're most welcome. Second, what would your advice be to young adults feeling lost? Young adults. Where can they find guidance in a world where so many people influence them? Let me deal with the last line, where so many people influence us. Among the so many people who influence us, there may be also people who can give you right guidance. Everybody cannot be giving wrong guidance. There must be. It's true that we are a society, so we are influenced by the people we meet. So make sure that while you meet everybody, give a little more time to people who you think are constructive and who are influencing you constructively. That's one thing that you can do. And when you say young adults, sometimes there's a very thin line between what we call children and adults. The adults should be also able to keep their minds open to learn from the children. Because very often we can get good lessons from them because their minds have still not become crystallized. You know what I mean? So if we can keep both these doorways open, then perhaps we could get some useful inputs to shape our lives. And thank you for thanking me.
Okay, two more questions. I can put badges in there as well. Anyone?
How do you think that the students of today will have an impact / influence on the future? Does that mean why do you think or how do you think? Whose question is this? Okay. So do you mean why do I think or how do I think? How? Because the future is today which becomes tomorrow. There's no other future far away somewhere which you cannot touch. Future is now. So you are the young people of this world now. So if you change, then the future will look after itself. That's what I mean. That's the impact. And if a great deal of young people change, then the future of this world is going to change. Thank you.
Cool.
One last question.
I just heard that we have 10 more minutes of questions, so
No.
hopefully we can get through all of them if possible. But
This is written very small. Let me be sure what I'm reading.
should I read it for you? Or,
No, I have my glasses. This is. If you're 69 doesn't mean you should miss time, right? Do you believe that the relationship between positive and negative change is circular? Okay. For example, from World War II came the era of peace that we live in now. Yet, in the past 2-3 years, this change and intolerance has been on the rise. How should negative pushback be avoided so that positive change can happen? This is a very well thought out question. You're right. Whose question is this?
Right, yeah.
You're right. The human beings have somewhere a built-in system where they realize how bad wars are because of the pain and the sorrow and the experience. So for some time we live gloating over the fact that the war has ended. It's like when sorrow has ended in some way, I feel I'm happy. You don't have to have any positive happiness for that. Even the fact that a little bit of sorrow has ended is a happy phase for me. This is universal, also among human beings everywhere in the world. So, we have been enjoying peace for a while, there have been no wars, then we take it for granted. When we take it for granted, we are in trouble. Because then the divisive forces start working. So, we have to be always on guard that the peace which we are being given at the stopping of the wars is not something that will be with us if we don't put in some effort. Which is why all these things are important. That we keep trying not to bring back that old phase which had created war. You know, for the First World War started like a silly thing. Some duke for dinner, somebody was murdered or shot dead in Sarajevo, and then it became a big war. So when you are in a state of war in the mind, any little incident can spark the flame. So we have to be always on guard. Don't take it for granted that the wars have ended. avoid and prevent. And these are very important steps in avoiding and preventing.
Thank you very much. You want to pick one yourself?
I know you have some more questions. Is this socialism or socialization? Do you think we can accomplish peace once and forever? Do you believe that socialism can exist? Is it socialism or whose question is it? Can I ask clarification?
Yeah.
What do you mean by the word socialism? Is it a political ideology or?
Yeah, political ideology of socialism, which means that everyone in society is secure and is working for the same aim. There is no government on top of that.
But unfortunately, political socialism has not much succeeded in many parts of the world. You know, although the idea is very good, the image, the idea, the thought is very good, but when it comes to practical application, it's not worked very well in most places. What happens in places where they give too much stress to socialism is that dictators come up suddenly because they decide how people should live. This is exactly. So from socialism, it degenerates into dictatorial attitudes. So when socialism is a good word, what it should be is that we should believe that we are humanly equal, not economically. Economically, nobody can be equal. Some are rich, some are poor. It will go on. You can make the poor better and make them richer, but it will go on. There will be inequality. But when you really, I call it a mind socialism, which means we should realize that we are human beings. And therefore, we are equal. As human beings, not as economical. I may have a small Fiat 500 and somebody may have a Mercedes. I can't be. But I must understand that I am the same as the other guy who is going in this little car. You know? So that is important. If you call that socialism, I think it's very important. Okay? And we can accomplish peace once forever. We can't say now. It will be too much of my desire. I would desire that, but whether that will happen, we'll have to see. We can't say now. I cannot tell you that it will happen forever. But if it happens in 10 years, it's good enough for us. It may influence for some more time. So which means what? I believe that time to time people will come up who will want to have peace. And if more such people come up, then maybe your ambition or your desire, not ambition, your desire to have peace forever might work. I can't give you a definite answer on this. I don't know. But we should not stop trying. Even if you have 10 years of peace, it's a great thing.
Thank you very much, Shreya. How many more do you
One
want?
more.
One more, okay. Choose wisely.
I can't, it's a lucky dip.
Yeah.
I should. Nice. Last question which I picked is a very simple one sentence. What does peace mean to you? To me? No. Question is great. It's so concise. Can I see who asked this question, please? Okay. Now I need to ask you, what does peace mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Well, that everybody lives in equality and that everybody, yeah, how should I explain it? I don't know. It's well.
Okay. So, for you, peace means that people live in equality. People live without fighting with each other. People live in peace. I mean, people. I'm not saying this fellow is bad, that fellow is bad. And they're living together and learning to appreciate the other person's point of view. And in general, avoiding violence. I think that's what peace is for me too. if we can avoid violence, if we can discuss instead of argue, we can debate instead of arguing, if we can agree to disagree and be at peace with each other, I think that would be peace for me. Everybody cannot agree with the same thing. I agree with that. We can agree to disagree, but it need not turn into violence. You see, many things can be sorted out by discussion and debate and dialogue. So the key word would be when people are ready to have a dialogue. Then there is a hope for peace. For that I have to admit I may be wrong sometimes. Otherwise there can't be a dialogue like that. If you think you're right always and I think I'm right, how can we have a dialogue? So sometimes when we sit for a dialogue, we should say, maybe we are wrong. Let's hear what the other guy is saying. If this happens, then I think we will go into a golden era. When I see young faces here, you're so young, sitting here and asking this serious question. That you're asking this question gives me hope. That something is on and something is possible.